This is EL6303 homework 9 question 1. The question given is W of t is a stochastic process with the mean of the W of t is 0 and autocorrelation is alpha, minimum of t1 comma t2. We know y of t is W of t minus W of t minus 1 for all t greater than or equal to 1 and 0 for t less than 1. In the question, we need to find mean and autocorrelation of y of t, and also to find out whether we need to find out whether W of t is WSS or y stationary. So the solution is, the mean is E of W of t minus W of t minus 1, which is 0 because we know that mean of W of t is always 0. Now coming to autocorrelation, we can see the Ry of t1 comma t2 is E of W of t1 minus W of t1 minus 1 into W of t2 minus W of t2 minus 1 because it's t1 comma t2. This when we multiply internally, that is W of t1 into W of t2, E of that is basically mean of that is similar to this given part of the question, which is alpha of minimum of t1 comma t2, which is W of t1 into W of t2. E of that is basically alpha times minimum of t1 comma t2. Then you multiply W of t1 into W of t2 minus 1, we get minus of minimum of t1 comma t2 minus 1. Similarly, t1 minus 1 into t2 gives you minimum of t1 minus 1 comma t2 plus, the signs are similar, minus minus plus, so minimum of t1 minus 1 comma t2 minus 1, we get that. However, in order to further simplify this, we have to take in two cases, consider two cases, which is where t2 is less than t1 and t2 is less than t1 minus 1. When you draw this number line, we know that t2 is less than t1, this is t1, and t2 is also less than t1 minus 1. When we consider this case and we use it in this autocorrelation values, result, we get minimum of t1 comma t2 is obviously t2, and minimum of t1 comma t2 minus 1 is obviously going to be t2 minus 1, which because there is negative outside becomes t2 plus 1. Similarly, the minimum of t1 minus 1 comma t2 is again t2, so minus t2 because minus is there, plus minimum of t1 minus 1 and t2 minus 1 is going to be t2 minus 1 because again t2 minus 1 is less than t1 minus 1. So once we do that, and we can see that t2 will get cancelled, and again t2 and t2 will get cancelled, plus 1 minus 1 get cancelled, so alpha times 0 is again 0. Now the second case is t2 is less than t1 but t2 plus 1 is greater than t1. We draw the number line for that, t1 minus 1 and t1. T1 for this particular condition, the second condition. So when we substitute the values, similarly we'll get alpha times t2 minus t2 plus 1 minus t1 plus 1 plus t2 minus 1. So when we simplify this, we'll end up with the alpha times t2 minus t1 plus 1. With all cases considered, we'll give that Ry of t1 comma t2 is 0 for whenever t1 minus t2 is greater than 1, and alpha times 1 minus mod t1 minus t2 for all t1 minus t2 less than or equal to 1. This t1 minus t2, as you know, is tau, so Ry of tau is equal to 0 for all tau greater than 1, and alpha minus 1 minus modulus tau for all tau less than or equal to 1.